Hey YouTube, today we're going to take off our OEM brakes off of our Yamaha Blaster. The one we're working on today is a 2002. We're going to put these cheap China brakes on. And the reason I'm doing this is actually because the old brakes were cable and they seized up. It would have been about $160 to buy the parts on eBay, and they were used. The brakes are discontinued, so you can't get them anymore. But they do have these kits that will convert your brakes from cable to disc. The problem is they don't come with instructions, and it's taken me hours to figure this out. So I hope now that I've got it figured out, I'm going to show you guys how to do it so you don't have to go through all the same struggles that I did. If this quad looks familiar to you, there's the Warrior, and I think there's also the Blaster. This one is the Blaster. It's a little 200cc Yamaha quad. And there's a few of the years from 88 till 2004, I think, where they can all use this conversion kit. You can buy them on Amazon for about, I think I got mine for about 200 bucks or just slightly under that. And we're going to see how it goes. We're going to get started right now. The only nice thing I can say about this whole thing is everything comes in little baggies. And these two studs came in the same bag, so I figured they must go together. And I was right. These are for your caliper. And I'm going to show you how to put that together right now. First, actually, I'm going to grab some grease. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but generally on brakes, you grease these, the actual studs up, because that's kind of what the caliper rides on. And this one is going to go into this larger hole right here. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. And the smaller one, I'm going to put on first. I'll show you why here in just a second. Get this greased up a little bit. I'm going to put in here just so I remember how it goes. So it's going to go like, let me see here. Obviously it has to go like this, I guess. Which right now isn't making sense to me. I actually had to pause this and redo this again because I had forgotten how it went just from the few minutes I took it apart. That's how confusing this is. I'm going to show you real quick how this is supposed to go so that you'll know when you put it together. But basically, you see how this, it looks like a Y, like an upside down Y. Think of this fatter part goes up here towards the Allen stud right here. See that Allen stud? So this arch goes on the Allen part, Allen bolt. I guess it's called the post. Anyways, I think it's easier, honestly, if you put this part in first. This stud, this little post, is going to go in the long, skinny part. And it's going to go, hopefully I'm doing this the right direction. Oops, I forgot my washer. I don't know if it matters. Looks like it's the same on both sides, so I don't think it matters what direction it goes. Put this thing on here and tighten it up pretty good. This is really cheap aluminum, so I wouldn't go crazy on the bolts. And then now we got to stick this into here, which I've already greased up. Slide that in like so. Then we're going to put this Allen, this post, screwed into. Yes, I could tell. If I would have forced that, I probably could have cross-threaded it. Who knows, maybe that'll hold it in a little better. All right. So now I got my posts all greased up. I kind of want to go a little tighter than that, but maybe I should. Okay, there's your, this is your caliper built. Now we're going to go show you how to put it on. Okay, your kit comes with, these are actually 10 mil bolts and some sort of a sleeve. Just looks like almost looks like a socket. You're gonna have two of them. They go on where your existing brakes took off from. I'm not gonna explain how to take the old stuff off. If you don't know how to take this kind of stuff off at this point, this video probably isn't for you. This project probably wouldn't be for you. But anyways, so that said, we put these on like so, and then get the brake on here, and then bring this up into where it needs to be installed and mounted. And then that way the holes are kind of self-explanatory. All right, let's see how that goes. Okay, I'm not going to go crazy tight on these things. Like I said, it's only about 6 threads of aluminum. And there you go. Now your back caliper's on. Of course, your brake cable is going to tie right into here, and we'll bleed them later. This next part, single-handedly, was the most difficult part of the build. You see this thing? I had to assemble this without any instructions, simply by looking at the pictures that were on the ad for Amazon. So I'm going to pause, take this apart, and hopefully remember how it goes back together, and give you real clear, precise instructions on how you get to this point. I've actually laid out all the pieces in front of me to make this go a little bit quicker, but these did actually come in one bag. So you know they kind of all go to something similar. What you've got here is, this is one of the brackets, and it clamps onto your master cylinder, excuse me, I keep saying that, your caliper, like so. This is your very bottom of it right here. Just think it goes, the bottom, middle, goes on the cylinder, and then this one ties into the very top here where your actual reservoir is going to stay on. I actually cheated and wrote top. I put a T and a B here so I remember how this goes before I wouldn't make a fool of myself doing this on video. That said, let's go and start putting this thing together real quick here. There's a few little tricks here to think about. Basically, this thing's going to clamp onto your frame. And if you think of it like this is the clamp, you see how this kind of shapes around? That is going to where your frame post is going to ride, the rail of your frame. So if you think of it that way, that may help you as you're building it, kind of get an idea how everything needs to be going. This honestly took me probably 30 minutes the other day to put this all together, to learn how to do this part of it. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tie these all up on camera here. I'm just going to just get the gist of it. Then this one, you're going to have a little stud. It's actually going to be a Phillips tip. It goes on top here like this, and this reservoir clips on there. You have a little washer and, of course, a little nut. Just like so. Now for the back part, this gets a little tricky. It comes with these two screws that are Phillips tip. However, the tricky part is, I don't understand this. One of them's longer than the other, and I can't for the life of me understand why. I'm probably going to find out when I put it on the quad. But anyway, so you insert those two long screws on there like that. Then you have these two screws come with sleeves that go on like this. And then you have this bracket here. Make sure this L piece with the holes in it, with the hole in the top, goes pointing towards the top. I believe that's probably where your cable for your brake line is going to go through. But it rests on here like this. And just like so. Keep in mind, this has to form a clamp. I hope you can see that, where it literally is going to grab a hold of your frame of your dirt bike. So the bracket bends over this way, and then the other one bends over this way, forming a clamp. Now you have to get, with this, what little bit of meat you have left on these things, you have to try to get your screws nuts on. And that's not really that easy given the fact that these things are so small. One of them is actually pretty big. That's a perfect size. Like I said, I don't know why that other one's so short. I'm probably missing something or doing something wrong, because usually, it's been my experience, if it doesn't make sense, you're probably doing it wrong. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. And I think this is pretty much as far as we need to get without putting the brake line on. This next step I found to be really critical, so I want to make sure I'm going to give you guys precise instructions on how to do this. You see how this has a little bit of a slight angle to it, probably like a 20-degree angle, if that. You need to make sure that that is installed. Here's your cylinder. Make sure that it's installed like this, okay? Make sure you get washers on both sides of that bolt, because that actually has fluids going through it. You need to get that right. Anyways, just the way this installs, I've noticed it looks like it's designed to be that way, given the fact that this kind of keeps it tucked up and out of the way of the rear wheel, just with the routing. So make sure you go ahead and install it this way here. And put this on before you install the bracketry, meaning before you install it onto the quad, because this is going to be really tricky to get on once it's on the bike. One of the problems that I've come across is the way this was welded in here. there's a clip that needs to go onto here, like a little C-clip. And the way this weld was done was so thick, I couldn't get the clamp on there. So I've grinded this off. Now I can at least see the groove where it needs to get in, and I have tried it, so I can get the clip on here. Next, what I've got to do is, the way this is done now, when you pull it off, it's going to have the old brake post still on the foot peg. I realize now, for this to work, I've got to grind this thing off and this off and this little bracket here. I hope you can see this in the light. So I'm going to hit this. I'm going to use my regular grinder. I don't feel like sitting there on a bench grinder going nuts on this thing for hours on end. So I'm going to try to use my cutting wheel, cut this off, and grind this down. This thing is still super hot to the touch, but now I got that post removed off of here, and then also there's another little stopper here that I grinded off of here. Now there's literally no going back. This is going to have to work for us. Up until this point, I could always go back to the OEM with the cable brakes, but I think I just solidified that deal by doing this. Anyways, I think I should paint it. I was going to do one last demonstration on how this goes together, because this took a little while to figure out. Basically, this is your original OEM foot peg. It comes with, the kit does come with new bolts. And then this thing inserts like this. So the bracket facing this direction, and make sure that the foot pedal is on top of the bracket. It will not go below it. And that's where we're at. And I'm actually glad I'm doing this. I just realized this clip right here is tight at first. You see how I put that little C-clip on there? But that, obviously, don't forget about that. And then these bolts here go on like this, and it bolts onto your frame. I'm not sure if this is even going to show up in the camera or not, but we're going for it. Just got to make sure these things are going straight. Now, I don't want to strip out these inserts on my frame by any means. Okay, cool. That's going pretty good. I'm going to get a ratchet and bolt that sucker on for good. Okay, I've kind of come across a little bit of a issue here. This thing is supposed to rest right into here like this. However, this bracket is going to be in the way, and this thing doesn't want to fit once I get it on. I'm going to first try to grind this bracket off, and then we'll see if it fits. If not, I may have to cut this off of here to make it fit. It will still be held up by the foot peg. These things attach to the foot peg, so we'll have real good support by that. And this is not like it's some race machine. Honestly, the kids use this to buzz around the yard anyhow. But this is no longer necessary because the cable is not in use anymore. So this is literally just wasted space. So give me a minute here. We're going to grind that off and see how it goes. Well, I got that off. I'm probably going to grind this up and clean it up a little bit so it doesn't look so brutal, even though I think the brake will cover that. Oh, well, even after I cut that bracket that holds the cable out of the picture, I still need to cut this. I tried it every which way possible, and unfortunately, I need to cut this bar back to about here. Okay, here's what I had to do. I did end up cutting this tube off right here. It's a goner. I had to switch this what they call them, the cylinder, to the other side of the bracket. I did put these bolts in there now. It's in there really tight. I don't know what this dropout thing is for. I have no idea. That said, now there was this bolt, and I'll show you why I put it on their side. You see that? The brake line right there? The bolt that holds that brake line on was actually rubbing my swing arm. That's why I had to move it to this side of the bracket. That said, I think everything's going to work out now. Here's my next little fun challenge is the spring that this thing has is way short, and I don't know what I'm supposed to attach it to. I don't know if, I'm thinking in hindsight, maybe there was something that's designed to go on there and then drive all the way down to that spring. That said, I'm at a loss right now. I'm going to try to engineer something, and I'll get back to you with what brilliant idea I come up with. Here's how I decided to run my brake line.
I don't know if this is the best way or not, but I came underneath this bracket here and looped around back up. I thought any other way left it really vulnerable, and it was banging against here. And I know this is looks like it's way out there, but I don't know what else. If I put it this way, it kind of has the same thing. So if you got a better idea, let me know. I have no idea how I'm gonna be able to pour this into there. This will be a challenge. I wonder if I should shake this brake fluid up. Okay, here we go. We're gonna break this loose. You guys probably all know the drill. Break this side loose and pump the brakes. I put that cap back on there. Goosey goosey. Okay. I'm just gonna fill this thing all the way up, and hopefully it'll start going out the brake lines. There we go. We made it. Hopefully I didn't get it out of camera. On the camera. Still not real impressed with the action on these brakes, man. You got to move them down. It's like operating a tractor brake. Oh man, that's horrible. Oh, no wonder. Okay, I might be out of fluid. See a little problem there. By the way, you guys saw that technique, right? Where I pump it, plug it, like siphoning it through, basically, is what we're doing. I think this just needs more siphoning. Okay. And we're almost out of fluid again. Man, I'm making a mess. And by the way, this brake action has not gotten any better. It still feels like a tractor brake. Actually, there we go. We're starting to get some. That's actually feeling pretty good. All right, we're getting there. I'm going to call that good. That actually starting to feel pretty decent. I can live with that. Okay. I can live with that.
I just took the quad out for a spin and it did work great. The brakes are awesome. I'm stoked on that. In hindsight, looking back, this took 3 days to do. I spent about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours each day working on it. A lot of it was discovery and redoing it. That said, I would probably recommend just getting the OEM. I found a few sets of the brakes on eBay. They're secondhand, they're used, but I think it's a lot easier than doing this whole setup. I know the rigmarole that I had to go through, the grinding, the removing stuff, the engineering. I don't think it's worth it in the end, but I've got a decent set of brakes now that work really, really well. So I hope this video makes it go a lot easier for you. There are no instructions that come with this kit because it's designed for a multitude of different bikes, and maybe they don't want to mislead you or tell you you actually have to grind some stuff off your dirt bike or your quad when you buy it. Good luck with you on your build.